Calling the Board of Education now into session. Is there a motion to move into closed session pursuant to item 1 of the proposed agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second? Okay. All those in favor? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? We're in closed session. calling the Board of Education into session. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Let me at this point call on Mr. Joe Patterson to present some students and our Pledge of Allegiance.
Good evening. I get the privilege to introduce two students that are going to do the pledge for us tonight, and that is Miss Macy Lambert and Kanan Smith. And following the pledge, we will have Miss Reagan Deaton doing the inspiration. So, guys, come on up. All right, please stand. Ready?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Yeah.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Reagan Deaton. Inspiration. It's a word we hear all the time, but what does it really mean? For me, inspiration is the spark, the fuel that keeps us going, especially when the path gets difficult. It's something that turns ordinary moments into extraordinary ones and reminds us we're capable of achieving. Inspiration can come from many places. It could be a person we admire, like a friend, family member, or mentor, or it could be a story of someone who overcame impossible odds. These examples show us that even in the face of adversity, we can rise and push forward. Sometimes inspiration from within. We all have moments of doubt, but when we connect with our inner self and believe in it, we unlock something powerful. This self-belief can propel us to reach our goals, inspiring not only ourselves, but others around us. Inspiration is everywhere, waiting for us to notice it. So the next time you face a challenge, take a moment to look around, to listen to stories, or even to reflect on your own journey. You'll find that inspiration can come from the most unexpected places and can turn even the smallest acts into something meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you very much for our inspiration, and thank you, Mr. Patterson, for your help in this matter. At this point in time, let me turn it over to our Vice Chair, Ms. Davis, for our moment of silence.
All right, this evening, it's been a few weeks since the hurricanes come through western North Carolina, but I think it might be starting to dwindle from some people's mind, and I want to put that back at the forefront while we take just a moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. At this point in time, let me turn the matter over to Charlie Batchelor and for some recognitions.
Good evening. I wanted to note, as I call up people to be recognized, family members and principals, feel free to come on up and take pictures. And after I'm done reading, I'll go get a picture myself for Moore County Schools. First, could we have Macy, Kanan, and Reagan please join Vice Chair Davis and Board Member Caldwell at the front? And as a token of appreciation, we are presenting these students with certificates for leading us in the Pledge of Allegiance and providing a wonderful inspiration to us all this evening. Christy and Heather from Elise Middle School, please join Vice Chair Davis and Board Member Caldwell at the front. Christy Howard is this month's Engage, Inspire, Succeed Certified Staff Honoree for Elise Middle School. Mrs. Howard is a beloved fixture at Elise Middle School, having enriched our community for over 27 years. Renowned among students and staff, she is consistently nominated for Teacher of the Year, but humbly declines. Seventh graders rave about her math class due to her rapport and engaging teaching style. She sets high expectations, meets with students individually, and tracks their goals. Outside the classroom, she mentors new teachers, supports our school improvement plan, and participates in after-school activities. We are deeply grateful for her contributions and know her legacy will continue in Bearcat Country. Heather Sullivan is this month's Engage, Inspire, Succeed Support Staff Honoree for Elise Middle School. Mrs. Sullivan, a teacher assistant in our self-contained classroom, consistently goes above and beyond her duties. She arrives early to prepare the classroom and collaborates with the teachers to meet every student's needs, creating individualized learning stations. Mrs. Sullivan deeply cares for all her students and the whole Elise community. She is a true team player, helping all students meet our expectations and mentoring those in general education who need extra encouragement. Thank you, Mrs. Sullivan, for your unwavering dedication and love for our students at Elise. You are greatly appreciated and loved. With family members and principal priests, please stand and be recognized. While they're shaking hands, Lauren and Rebecca from High Falls Elementary School, please join Vice Chair Davis and Board Member Caldwell at the front. Lauren Hussey is this month's Engage, Inspire, Succeed Certified Staff Honoree for High Falls Elementary School. We are delighted to recognize Mrs. Hussey for a middle school science teacher for her exceptional contributions to our school community. She demonstrates passion and dedication daily. Beyond her classroom duties, she serves as the staff representative on our High Falls PTO board and coaches our robotics teams. This year, she and her colleagues took on the added responsibility of teaching 6th grade content, investing extra prep time to ensure high-quality learning experiences. She tirelessly promotes school activities, events, and community support efforts. High Falls students and staff are extremely grateful for the love and care Mrs. Hussey pours into her work both inside and outside the classroom. Rebecca Shepard is this month's Engage, Inspire, Succeed Support Staff Honoree for High Falls Elementary School. Mrs. Shepard, our after-school daycare director, is a valuable member of our school community. In addition to her excellent work in after-school childcare, she has previously served as a long-term substitute teacher in physical education and music. Currently, she is a dedicated long-term substitute teacher assistant in the AU-specific classroom setting. Mrs. Shepard has built positive relationships with students in her various roles and is always willing to support us, even by coming in to substitute after receiving an early morning call on short notice. We are very grateful to have Mrs. Shepard as part of our High Falls family. With family members and Principal Moore, please stand and be recognized.
I thought that was a musical accompaniment. I thought that was part of the program. Go High Falls. Thank you. Thank you. Is High Falls one word or two words? One word, yes. Thank you.
And Misty from Northmore High School, please join Vice Chair Davis and Board Member Caldwell at the front. As she makes her way to the front, I'd like to mention that Randall Stewart is this month's Engage, Aspire, Succeed support staff honoree for Northmore High School. He was unable to attend tonight's meeting and will be presented his certificate on behalf of the Board of Education at a later date. Misty Marley is this month's Engage, Aspire, Succeed certified staff honoree for Northmore High School. Mrs. Marley has been a dedicated school nurse with Moore County Schools since 1997 and at Northmore since 1999. A proud Northmore graduate and class valedictorian, she cherishes the opportunity to give back to her home community. In addition to serving at Northmore, she is also the school nurse at High Falls Elementary. Known for her tireless work ethic, care, and compassion, Mrs. Marley is an invaluable member of our Mustang family. Her dedication extends to meeting the needs of our students, families, staff, and her evident love for all things Carolina. We are deeply grateful for everything Mrs. Marley contributes to our community. Would family members and Principal Patterson please stand and be recognized? And Bailey from Northmore High School, please join Vice Chair Davis and Board Member Caldwell at the front. Bailey Marley is this month's Engage, Aspire, Succeed student honoree. Bailey, a senior at Northmore, is currently ranked at the top of her class with a weighted GPA of 4.57. She is a member of the Marching Mustangs, playing the trombone and serving as the brass section leader. Bailey also participates in Northmore's jazz band and concert band, regularly earning all-county distinctions. Beyond the arts, she is active on the Lady Mustangs varsity tennis and basketball teams and serves as a manager for the men's tennis team. Bailey is involved with the Northmore Beta Club, HOSA Future Health Professionals, and Sandhills Phi Theta Kappa Honor Society. She volunteers regularly at the food bank with Robbins Area Christian Ministries and with Samaritan's Purse through her church. After graduation, Bailey plans to attend Liberty University to pursue a degree in nursing. Would family members and Principal Patterson please stand and be recognized? And tonight we have an additional recognition with members of the girls golf team at Pinecrest. Please join Vice Chair Davis and Board Member Caldwell at the front. And feel free to come up and take pictures as I'm reading. Y'all can get close. During the North Carolina High School Athletic Association 4A Girls Golf State Championship at Pinehurst No. 6, Pinecrest completed the first round of championship play with senior Caitlin tied for the individual lead, and the team held an 8-stroke lead overall. The second round proved to be quite a roller coaster. At one point, the team was leading by 15 strokes, but within a short period of time, they found themselves trailing by 1 stroke. Through sheer grit and determination, each member of the team finished the round strong, ultimately securing the championship by 8 strokes. This remarkable team won their 3rd straight state championship title, a testament to their hard work and dedication. We're incredibly proud of their success and the excellence they continue to demonstrate. With family members and Principal Phillips, please stand and be recognized.
That's all I know about golf. Great job.
And at this time, I would like to hand it over to Superintendent Dr. Locklear for a special recognition.
Thank you, Mr. Batchelor. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, I have the opportunity on behalf of the board, our students, and our staff in Moore County Schools to honor the significant contributions of 3 outgoing members of our Board of Education. As I call your name, I would ask that these members, if you would, please step forward as I recognize you and then also honor you with a commemorative plate. So the first, I'd like to recognize Ms. Codwell. If you'd come forward, Ms. Codwell. Only Ms. Codwell, yes. We love you. First, I'd like to recognize Ms. Stacy Codwell. She joined the board in 2015, representing District 1, after she was a beloved first grade teacher at Pinehurst Elementary from 2002 to 2009. Her dedication continued as she was elected in 2016 and re-elected in 2020. She's played a pivotal role as chair of the Appeals Committee and the Construction and Maintenance Committee. She's also been an integral member of our Budget, Finance, and Audit Committees over the years. She's always led with her heart on behalf of our students and our staff. She's always advocated for what she felt was best for our school district, our students, and our staff. Her educational insights and steadfast commitment have been invaluable to our district. And I want to say thank you. Thank you so much. And on behalf of our Board of Education, our students and staff, thank you for your service. And I would like to present you with a commemorative plate, or platter, as Cindy will remind me it's called, not a plate, a commemorative platter for your years of service to Moore County Schools. Thank you so much. Get all 3 of you together in a minute. Next, I'd like to recognize Mr. Philip Holmes. Mr. Holmes. Thank you, Mr. Holmes. Mr. Holmes became a member of the Board of Education in 2020. Mr. Holmes brought a great perspective as a community member, a business member, parent, and spouse of a teacher. He's provided leadership as the chair of our Curriculum and Media Committee and our Safety and Discipline Committee. His support for our educational programs and his commitment to supporting our efforts to ensure safe learning environments have greatly benefited our schools. Mr. Holmes, I want to thank you for your service, and on behalf of our Board of Education, our students, and our staff, I also would like to present you with this commemorative platter in recognition for your years of service to Moore County Schools. Thank you, sir. Lastly, I'd like to honor Mr. Bob Levy, Chairman Levy. Mr. Levy was elected to the Board of Education in 2020. He served as the board chair for the past 2 years. Mr. Levy also has brought a great perspective as a community member, a grandparent, and uniquely, someone who's received his teaching certification and student taught right here in Moore County Schools. Mr. Levy has also led the Budget, Finance, and Audit Committee, contributing to the development of our school district budgets over the last few years. He's been a proactive member of the Construction and Maintenance Committee, as well as the Curriculum and Media Committee, and has made many contributions to policy as well. His leadership and work has certainly been an asset to Moore County Schools. Superintendent, you work closely with the chair and vice chair on a multi-day basis during the week, and I want to say thank you for the relationship that we built, Mr. Levy, and the way you've treated me, and I certainly will miss you, sir. Thank you. Again, I want to thank you for your service on behalf of our Board of Education, our students, and our staff, and I'd like to also present you with this commemorative platter in recognition for your years of service. Thank you, sir. Now, if y'all all three come together, just make one final comment if I could. And just as you're getting that last photo, lastly, as these respected members transition from their roles, I want to, again, on behalf of our board, our staff, our students, extend our deepest gratitude for their service and for the lasting impact they've made in our community and schools. Your contributions will certainly have an impact for years to come. So thank you again, board members Codwell, Holmes, and Levy, for your unwavering service and dedication. Can we all please join together in recognizing their service again?
Can I get one more photo?
Of us?
All three of them.
Charlie, you're the picture taker. You can interrupt.
Didn't break the count.
Chair, if I can do a 9.5 years, I haven't done this, but can I do a point of privilege, I guess it's called?
It's called a point of personal privilege.
There it is.
and-
I've never done it before. And
so-
this is probably why.
So Chair yields to Ms. Caldwell.
Thank you. I just wanted to say my speech now because I know many of you will be leaving and many of you will be turning off the internet soon. So I figured I would and not have my husband stay for the whole meeting to hear my speech. So good evening, everyone. As I stand here, and I'm going to probably need the tissues, but I'm going to try to get through this. As I stand before you today, I'm filled with a mix of emotions. After 9.5 years, this chapter of my life is coming to a close. Serving on this board has been an incredible journey, one filled with challenges, triumphs, and countless memories that I will carry with me for the rest of my life. I want to start by expressing my heartfelt gratitude to my family, especially my husband and daughter, Jamie and Peyton. Excuse me. Thank you for your constant support, love, and understanding, especially all those late nights, long meetings, and missed concerts on your activities. Your patience and encouragement have meant everything to me. To the staff, teachers, and administrators, thank you for your tireless dedication to our students. You are the heart of this district, and your commitment to education inspires me. I've seen firsthand the impact you have on young lives, and I'm in awe of the passion you bring to your work every single day. To my central office staff, a big thank you for your critical work you do behind the scenes to keep our district running smoothly. Your dedication and support have been essential in making our vision a reality. A special thank you to Superintendent Tim Locklear for your steady leadership and vision. Your guidance has been instrumental in moving our district forward, and I'm grateful for the collaborative spirit you bring to every challenge we face. I also want to extend my deep appreciation to our board secretary, Cindy, whose hard work behind the scenes ensures that everything runs smoothly. Your attention to detail and dedicated support have made a significant difference, and I am truly grateful for everything you do. To my fellow board members, thank you for the opportunity to serve alongside you. We may not have always seen eye to eye, but I believe that our differences made us stronger, pushing us to find the best solutions for our students and community. It's easy to get caught up in disagreements, but at the end of the day, we are all here for the same reason, and that's to serve our children. Reflecting on the past 9.5 years, I'm incredibly proud of what we've accomplished together. During my time on the board, we've built 3 new schools to address the growing needs to our community, ensuring that every child has access to a quality learning environment. We also made significant improvements to existing facilities, including adding air conditioning to every gym, something that was long overdue. In addition, we undertook numerous upgrades and repairs to enhance the safety, functionality, and overall experience for our students and staff. These achievements are a testament to our shared commitment to providing the best for our children. To the new board members that will be joining in December, you are stepping into a role that is challenging and rewarding. I encourage you to listen, learn, and lead with the best interests for all our students. I have no doubt that you will bring a fresh perspective and energy to this team, and I'm excited to see the positive impact you will make. I leave with confidence that this board will continue to build on the foundation we've laid and rise to meet the challenges of tomorrow. The work is never truly done, but I know that the passion and dedication I've seen here will continue to drive a positive change. As I step away from this role, I do so with a full heart, knowing that I've given all to this board and this community. I'm excited to see where the future takes us, and I'll always be cheering you on. Thank you for the honor of serving with you. I don't know if that made sense, but I'm going with it. Let's continue to move forward with kindness, respect, and shared commitment to what truly matters, and that's success of every student. Thank you. Yeah, right.
Okay. All right, so my remarks, if any, will be at the end. So anything else along those lines? If not, we'll take a brief recess for anyone who wants to leave and doesn't want to stay for the business portion of the meeting. But if you do, certainly everyone is welcome. So about 30 seconds or a minute. calling the Board of Education back into session. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda? Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, aye? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so at this point in time, we have public address to the board, so I'll turn this over to the vice chair.
Yes, tonight we have 3 speakers. I'll just remind you that there'll be a time clock and 3 minutes each. We have Mr. Isaac Jenkins, Mary Ankle. I think I had it. And Miss Pam Thompson following that. Go ahead.
Good evening. I'm Isaac Jenkins. I'm the CEO for Concerned Citizen for Community Action, and I'm a godparent for students at Aberdeen Elementary School. You know, I'm looking at Stacy. I remember when I first came to North Carolina. Stacy was the first person that I voted for. And I'm going to miss you.
Thank you.
You know, I thought you were doing a wonderful job. And I'm going to miss you with that. It was an honor for me to have the privilege to vote for you. I come here today to talk to you about safety control at Aberdeen Elementary School. I know we have had this conversation before, and I do appreciate all that you have done up to this point to try to provide some safety for the students and staff and parents, but it's not enough. We got to do more. On my way here today, I spoke to Chief Shavers of the Aberdeen Police Department. Now, Chief Shavers and I conversate maybe 2 or 3 times a week in reference to public safety at elementary school. We recently had a meeting at the town hall with Chief Shavers and the police chief here for the school and President Levy, but nothing prevailed from that. Chief Shavers says to me today that we need to partner together. He's willing to do all that he could do, but he needs partnership from the school board. I encourage you to partner with Chief Shavers. He offered to train at least 2 SRO officers to give them jurisdiction. I implore you, understand, to follow up on that. Public safety is very important, especially, understand, it's pertaining to our students, to our children, and to our staff, and not only that, to the parents. So, I'm not here to beat you up. I'm asking you, understand, to let's get together and let's get something done. Let's do something. Let's keep hope alive for our parents, for our students, and for our staff. Thank you very much.
Point of personal privilege, if I could, Mr. Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
I have to say, thank you for speaking. I have to say, 4 years ago, when I first got on this board, we identified the stop, the Aberdeen Elementary and the need for a stoplight. And we were told by the bureaucrats, can't do it, it's a state. I mean, everybody told us all the reasons why we couldn't do it, right? And then when you spoke a year or so ago, same thing, right? Just a couple weeks ago during the election, I drive down Route 1 and I discovered that the same bureaucrats who told us that we couldn't put in a stoplight for the safety, the same town and the same state, North Carolina DOT bureaucrats who told us that we couldn't possibly put a stoplight there on Route 5 for the safety of our faculty, staff, and students. That exact same town and that exact same Department of Transportation highway had no problem putting a crosswalk with stoplights to go across Route 1 to Aberdeen Lake. I have to say, as an elected official and a school board member, that is extraordinarily infuriating and frustrating that the officials of Aberdeen and the North Carolina DOT were completely dismissive about the safety of our faculty, staff, students, and parents. But by God, when they wanted a crosswalk to go to their Aberdeen Lake, it just appeared. in much less time than 4 years. That's all. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Very, very frustrating, very infuriating.
Thank you. All right, go ahead.
Yeah.
Next speaker.
Ms. Enkel? It'll start when you start talking.
Just kidding. Well, I'm back for a couple reasons. One is to continue the conversation about the safety issue. A traffic report was done. We will be getting a stoplight. That stoplight will take up to 5 years to get there. That is inexcusable. We put 4 stoplights up on 15501 prior to the U.S. Open. Why aren't our kids as important as the U.S. Open, as the people coming into town? People coming into town, of course they're important. Everybody's important. We all are important. But our kids are our future. The stoplight, they want to wait until they widen the road. I don't understand that, because a stoplight can be put up and then it can be altered once the road is widened. This thing needs to go up now. We need your support. I need you to write to the DOT. I need you to sign a letter from the school board, old and new members, everybody and anybody that can get it done, okay? Because this needs to get done. The right-hand turn coming out of the school right now is almost as dangerous as when we were allowed to make the left. The speed limit at 45 miles an hour in what should be considered a school zone, which is my next topic, is entirely too fast. We need a school zone there. I've spoken with Senator McGinnis. I've emailed him numerous times. He's probably sick of hearing from me. I've also spoken with Matt Kitchen from the DOT. He knows my number by heart. So I've talked to him. And the problem is that people have excuses for not doing things instead of seeing the reality that it has to be done. Our kids need to be safe. Our parents need to be safe. People driving on that road that aren't even about to school, but are just taking the road because they're going from point A to point B. That stoplight needs to be there. That speed limit needs to be slowed down. If you go down further about 1.25 miles, the speed limit is lowered to 35 miles an hour. Why can't that be extended up to Sandpit Road? Why does it have to be 45 at all on that highway? There's no reason. People need to slow down. They need to use their heads, and they're not. The other thing that I really need to speak about too, and I'm not going to try to go over my time, the F grade that Aberdeen School is getting. I challenge all of you to visit all of our elementary schools. You could be I don't care how you do it, but talk to the teachers, talk to the students, find out what's going on. Aberdeen School, they are passionate about teaching these kids, and the kids are passionate. They're fantastic. They jump out of the cars in the morning and run into school because they're going to do an experiment in science.
Thank
Okay.
you, ma'am. That's all we have
Thanks,
this
I'm
evening.
so sorry.
No, you're fine. Thank you,
But
ma'am.
that could have gone against my time from the
Miss
last time when I didn't speak.
Miss Thompson, thank you.
Recognizing the former chair of the Board of Education, Pam Thompson, the
thank you so
Honorable
much.
Pam Thompson.
Thank you so much. And good evening, Chair Livy and Vice Chair Davis, board members, Superintendent Dr. Locklear. It's a privilege for me to be here this evening. And I want to speak about my dear friend this afternoon and let you know how she started her journey. I want to reflect back to June of 2015 when the Board of Education had experienced an abrupt resignation of several board members, and you guys remember that. Since I had previously served on the Board of Education from 2006 to 2010, I was contacted by Chair of the board at that time, Bruce Cunningham, and asked me to consider rejoining the board as they needed members quickly. At that time, I was serving as a member of the Sand Hills Community College Board of Trustees. So I spoke to George Little and submitted my letter of resignation, and returned to the Board of Education. During the month of June 2015, our 4 board members received probably 40, 50 applications to become a member of the board because we still had 3 vacancies. And we got all of these various applications from just across the county. Came across one particular one that read that this individual was an educator, was a teacher at Vass Lakeview, had worked with dog therapy for students, and loved her classroom. She had a daughter and a husband who served in the service, and both loved moving to Moore County. And I'm going to speed this up so that I don't run out. But it was a pleasure for me to nominate Stacy Caldwell as a member of the Moore County Board of Education. She ran for re-election and was, again, back on the board. She's contributed many, many things through the years. We've gone through buildings of new school buildings. We've gone through expanding Northmore. We renovated so that the 8 gyms across the county with no air condition could get air conditioned. She has led with knowledge, wisdom, expertise, and she has led with honesty and just professionalism. I want to thank Stacy for her years of service. No, it wasn't easy, all of those years, for 9.5 years, but it has been a pleasure me to serve with you personally, to get to know you as a friend, and I just want to be here this afternoon just to say thank you for your years. Philip, thank you for your years of service, and Bob, you know, it was a pleasure for us to serve together, even though we fought half the time. David, congratulations on your reelection. You're going to get 3 new people that's going to help you guys out. It's good to be here this afternoon. You guys take care.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Okay.
Mr. Chair, if we could take a brief recess. real
Yes,
quick.
okay, that's
Thank
fine.
you.
Done. calling us back into session at this point in time. We'll go to the revised start time for the Moore County Board of Education. Dr. Locklear.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Yes, the excuse me, the board approved their calendar previously last year in December. On that calendar that was approved last December, it had a start time for our first meeting in December of 9 a.m. And that first meeting in December is our work session. That's also noted as our organizational meeting per board policy. I would like to make a recommendation to the board that we change our calendar for that meeting date for the December 2nd, 2024 meeting date, which is also our organizational meeting, to start at 5 p.m. The reasoning behind that is to offer the opportunity for the swearing in of our new board members. We swearing in of Mr. Hensley, and then also have the organizational meeting of the board where the chair and vice chair is elected. I've spoke to the incoming board members, and their feedback is that a 5 p.m. start time would allow for their families to potentially attend. And the meeting organization would at this point would start with the swearing in of those new members and re-swearing in Mr. Hensley. We would have a recess to be able to have a brief reception in celebration of that event, and then we would come back into session for the organization portion of the meeting and then flow into the work session. So that would be the current recommendation. And again, I've talked to those new members and gotten their feedback, and they are support of this current plan as well. So just wanted to share that with you. So again, my recommendation would be to change the calendar for a 5 p.m. start date for our organizational meeting on December 2nd, 2024. Thank you.
Do I have a motion in support of the superintendent's recommendation?
So moved.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Our remaining matter deals with my motion, and my motion, which we have discussed the past 2 months, is that we raise the salary of our police officers 10%. The reason why I have requested that, I know that we have discussed it ad infinitum. We are now, I believe it's 11 officers short. We have lost at least 2 to higher salaries elsewhere. I think one we lost to the hospital. We also lost to the Sandhills Classical Christian, at least one officer. It's very interesting that people would have brought up the need to train a police officer, an SRO officer, to do traffic control at Aberdeen Elementary. I would love to be able to do that, but when you're 11 officers short, and where are you going to take your officer from? We don't even have an officer at each and every one of our schools. So to take 2 officers off of duty in front of our schools to do traffic at Aberdeen Elementary is something which is almost impossible to do. So what do? Well, we need to hire additional police officers. Well, how do we do that? It's been stated that we can that the County Board of Commissioners has said go ahead and do it, but unfortunately, there's not been the salary to bring these police officers in. So we still have a shortage of police officers. It was pointed out last week that we had already given them an 8% raise, and that may be true, but other departments got an 18% raise. So that doesn't work. Well, we also went to and I personally went to the to our representatives in the state legislature because there is a problem. The problem is that we can't hire rookie police officers. And what that means is that a police officer that we hire as an SRO has to have had 1 year's worth of experience on a North Carolina police force. That means we can't hire MPs that are retiring, okay? And we can't hire out-of-state police officers who some of whom are retiring here in Moore County, some of whom want to move here to Moore County to become our police officers, okay? My understanding is that the State Sheriff's Association has objected to us hiring brand new police officers, say officers out of the academy or officers from agencies outside of the state of North Carolina. So what do? Well, it's been stated we shouldn't have a police force. Well, that's it's an interesting thing, but you have to deal. It's often been said that you deal with the army you have, not the army you wish you had. Okay, and the army we have is a police force called the Moore County Schools Police, and we need more officers. I asked the superintendent, who, by the way, is opposed to this for good reason. I think I understand it. Okay. How else do we bring in more officers? And no one can say anything to me except raise their salary. So I'm taking it upon myself, hopefully with other members of the board will agree that that we need to raise the salary of our police officers 10% effective January 1, 2025. And that may not guarantee new police officers, but it'll sure guarantee that we won't hemorrhage more police officers. Okay? And it will also hopefully be a recruiting thing for new police officers, and will get us, if not at parity with the sheriff's office, very, very close to the sheriff's office. So with that, I'd like to make that motion. Question, is there a second? A second, okay. Is there further discussion? Because I've had my discussion. Seeing no, yes, yeah.
Oh, no, go ahead.
So, yes, of course I have discussion on this. The first thing I want to say is Mr. Levy said, and I quote, no one can say anything. Well, he asked a rhetorical question, how else do we bring new officers? And he rhetorically said, no one can say anything to me except raise their salary. Very disingenuous, because I spent 20 minutes in last week's work session laying out exactly how you recruit new officers. And it's not just pay. It's raising the standards of the team. But before I get into that, and I do want to say I'm really surprised to see this on the agenda for today's meeting as an action item. That's because last week it was on the agenda as a report and discussion, not a pending action item. And generally, if something's being considered for action in the following business session, it's on pending action. So when I left here last week, I was on the opinion that this had been tabled for the new board for the reasons that I brought up and Ms. Caldwell brought up. I was under the impression that this was being tabled for the next board. And imagine my surprise when I checked the agenda, and lo and behold, there it is as an action item. So there was a little bit of chair's prerogative to bait and switch. And I'm going to sidetrack for a minute because it shows the whole problem with this whole must have 7-day notice if you want to give a presentation. And I'll tell you why. If it was clearly stated a week ago that it was going to be on the agenda, I would have had a presentation ready to give a counter argument. but only the chair knew that it was going to be on the agenda until Friday. And Friday was too late for me to submit something 7 days prior, because I received notice that this would be on the agenda Friday, which was 3 days ago, 4 days ago maybe. And if I wanted to present something like the charts I'm looking at on my screen, I would have had to have done it before the chair decided to unilaterally put it on the agenda. So we should probably revisit that 7-day notice, because this is a prime example of how it ties the hands of board members to make their point. So again, that was an aside. So let's talk about this. So insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting different results. Dr. Locklear, the superintendent's against this, and he doesn't have the final say. We're an oversight board. But, I would ask Mr. Levy if he cares to answer. Who exactly is asking for this? I mean, Dr. Locklear didn't. Did Chief Hardy ask for a raise for his police officers?
We're not into an interrogation thing. Go ahead.
Okay, so we'll just assume the answer is no. So Chief Hardy didn't ask for this. Dr. Locklear didn't ask for this. Here's the unfortunate thing, and I'm going to speak a bit for Dr. Locklear, because, he did express in the work session that, part of the problem is we give a 10% raise to our SROs. What about the lunch ladies? What about the school bus drivers? What about the maintenance men? What about our school teachers? What about our teachers' assistants? What about our administrators? See, part of the problem is singling out a group and giving them a raise not based upon performance or increased qualifications. Is everyone else is going to say, what about us, right? If we were given a raise based upon increased qualifications, that would be different. But what we're doing is we're singling out one group of up to 30 people. Right now, I believe it's 11. And we're giving them a raise and we're excluding everyone else. That's a problem. The larger problem is that this needs to be part of a complete overhaul. The chair, we tried this a year ago, June, July of 2023. 2023, July. It was a July meeting because I was in Ukraine. Maybe it was, anyway. July of 2023, when I was out of town, the board, and just so happened I was out of town, but the board voted to give the SROs an 8% pay raise, which was exactly double of the rest of the state raise that everyone else got. As Mr. Levy pointed out, when that happened, there's 11 sworn departments in Moore County, from the sheriff's office, municipalities. When we gave that pay raise, we were 5th out of 11. Our department was 5th out of 11 for starting officer pay. Fast forward to today, and we're 8th out of 11. So we actually went backwards because, Pinehurst gave an 18% raise, Whispering Pines gave a 20%. See, so you're never going to win this game, right? So the solution is, again, if you look at the armed services, and I'm going to use this analogy again, I articulated it last week. If you look at the armed services, forever, whenever there's been a challenging recruiting environment, the Army has problems, the Navy has problems, the Air Force has problems. Who never has problems meeting their quotas are the Marine Corps or the Special Forces. That's because they don't compromise their standards. In fact, they raise their standards. And people who join the military and people who go into law enforcement, they want to be on the tough team. They want to be on the challenge team. More importantly, the soldiers and the people who you want to join the Marine Corps, you want to join Special Forces, or you want to join the people you want to join the SROs, they're the type of people who respond to challenge. The answer isn't just throwing money at the problem and saying, hey, we solved it. That's what bureaucrats do. That's what government officials do. No, what you do is you take a holistic look at the program, you increase the standards, which gets me to my next point. It is it is a very unfortunate fact that if there's a mass shooting event in Moore County, that it's going to happen at a school. Very, very unfortunate, but that's the world we live in. So what does that tell us? What does that tell us? What's that tell you all? That tells us that our officers, of all the officers in Moore County, the school resource officers have to be the best trained, the best equipped, and the best able to deal with an active shooter that happens right then. That's why, and again, Mr. Levy says, no one's told me how to solve this other than throw money at it. And very disingenuous, because what I'm about to say and what I just said, I said last week, and this is an alternate proposal that Mr. Levy he acts like it doesn't even exist. He literally just said, no one's given me a proposal. Well, here's a proposal that, I believe it's the winning proposal, and I believe it will work. And secondly, we've already tried Mr. Levy's proposal. We gave him an 8% raise a year ago, and it did not work. So what you do is you give more pay for increased proficiency, right? So right now we're 7th. What we should do, and this is why I believe this is an issue for the next board to solve, because we need to take a holistic, complete approach to it. Yes, they need a pay raise. They shouldn't be 7th, right? But maybe there's a modest pay raise that gets them in the top 30%. And then we require all new officers who come to us. Mr. Levy, we want to hire former military. Oh, okay, got that. We want to hire retired police officers. I don't know. I want to hire, what we need to do is we need to up our standards. We need to say all new officers that are coming to Moore County schools are going to be SRT qualified, special response team. Those are the people who are specially trained to deal with active shooters. So in addition to their school resource officer counseling type training, when people join our department, they're SRT trained, special response team, deal with active shooters, and trauma medical trained. And not just how to apply a tourniquet. They need to go and attend something equivalent to the Combat Lifesavers course, which is a 2-week course that soldiers go to, where they don't just learn how to apply a tourniquet. They learn how to do trauma medical to a squad or a platoon, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 casualties. Then, so there's three things these officers need to do. They need to be SRT trained, qualified. They need to be trauma medical qualified, and they need to train at least monthly with a special response team that's going to respond to their school. So for example, the schools out in the county, they would train with the sheriff's special response team. If they were at Pinehurst Elementary, they'd train with the Pinehurst SRT team. I think Southern Pines has one, and so on and so forth. And we would grandfather our existing officers, so none of our existing officers are going anywhere. They could participate in it if they wanted. If they didn't want to, that's okay. They can stay there. But all new officers come in, they do this qualification, they show up qualified, they train with the nearby departments. Then for those officers, we give them proficiency pay. See, Mr. Levy wants to take our existing officers with no increase in qualifications and make them the highest paid officers in Moore County. An alternate proposal that I believe the next board should look at is, yes, of course, we have officers that are SRT, trauma medical qualified, and trained with the nearby SRT teams. We give them proficiency pay that make them the highest paid officers in Moore County. But that's okay because they're the best trained, the best equipped, and they're the most qualified to respond to an active shooter. Throwing money at the problem, it's not going to solve it, as we learned. We threw money at it a year and a half ago, and we ended up with fewer officers. So it's not going to solve it. And B, if it does, it doesn't mean we're going to end up with the right officers. We need officers who are specifically trained to deal with an active shooter situation, neutralize it, and then deal with the medical issues in the aftermath. That is my proposal, and that's something that I believe the next board needs to take up and addressed seriously. And if this board votes to expend funds, give them a raise, then all this board's doing is they're just throwing money at an issue without addressing the root cause, and they're tying the hands of the next board. Thank you.
Further discussion? Ms. Caldwell?
Yes, I would have to agree with some of what Mr. Hensley was saying, and I feel like waiting for the new board is essential for this. I feel like we're rushing into this just to throw something at it to see what we can get. And as much as I think they do deserve a raise, I just don't think we're doing it the right way. So I'd have to agree with Dr. Lacalier on putting a pause on this for right now.
Further?
Yeah, I have something to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, and David, I'm all for raising the standards. I'm a firm believer in raising the standards in everything. And I'm also a firm believer that you don't throw money at anything. Education is really good at that. When there's a problem, well, let's just throw more money at it. And we educated kids in a one-room schoolhouse for a long time. Don't you think that we need people first in order to raise the standards? How do you raise the standards without having people to raise the standards? Do you understand my question?
I do. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Let me address it. So if you set the look, there are SRT trained people in more officers in Moore County, and they're at Pinehurst. They're spread out. And by the way, this is an interesting little tidbit. SRT officers that work at Pinehurst and other places, they put in tons of extra hours doing training. They don't get paid any extra for that. Just as an aside. So the old SWAT team. You ever watched SWAT teams? SRT is the new name for SWAT. So if you think SWAT, special response team, they do the entry, they got the M4s, they got they just do all that stuff, and they're specially trained to deal with hostage and active duty situation. So to answer your question, Ms. Bruno, is if you go out and hire a bunch of officers, they may not be physically qualified to do the SRT training or the SRT job. That's the problem. And that's why you grandfather your existing officers, because existing officers may not be able to go through and complete. They may not want to, but they may not physically be able to go through and complete the SRT training. So the reason why you need to hire, and if you are the highest paid department for those experts, you are going to get those experts, but the people have to show up trained. Otherwise, they may not make it through the training. Again, increase the standards, and officers are going to respond to that, because just like Marine, people that are in special forces or people in the Marine Corps, they answered the calling. That's what they want. They want a challenge. They want more challenge. They want more soldier stuff. And it's the same thing with police officers. You say, we're going to have SRT trained officers, and you set those standards high, you're going to attract those people. And so that's my point, is increase look, if you want to make our SRTs the highest paid department in Moore County out of all 11 departments, that's great. You just make them the highest trained and the highest qualified. But right now, what we want to do is just take our existing officers with no increase in training or capability or lethality, and we want to make them the highest paid in the county. And it comes back. I knew a detective at the sheriff's department that left the sheriff's department and became an SRO. This was, 8 or 10 years ago. And he said, gosh, it's more money and it's a lot easier work. I mean, that's literally what he said. He doesn't work for us anymore. And first of all, we didn't need a detective, right? If you look at it, I mean, we didn't need a detective. We need active shooter response people. And secondly, it was easier job with more money. So that's what motivated him. And that's not what we need.
Okay, so why can't we hire people first and then give them all this training? Raise the standard that way.
Because many of them would not make it. The SRT training's difficult.
Okay, I also have to disagree that you think that it's not fair because then the cafeteria ladies aren't getting, nobody else is getting a raise except them. But in my opinion, they're a total separate entity. They're the only ones in our school who carry a service weapon. I don't see how you compare them to everybody else who works in the school district.
Well, and you could say that for everyone. I mean, the bus drivers are the only people with a commercial driver's license, and
but a gun's different.
Well, no, granted, but you know, people with CDLs are making $100,000 driving for Walmart. You know, and we're not going to compete with that. You know, it just look. But that's a good point. Another point that the next board, you know, I brought up. We need. Mr. Holmes, your thing's upside down, just as an aside. Okay, I just noticed. Got it. So it's like a flag.
What's upside down?
He turned
Oh,
thing
his
upside down.
sign.
So anyway, where were we at?
I don't know.
I know, right?
I don't know. I saw the
So anyway,
distress sign.
look, every no, this is what I was saying. You know, we need to bring up locality pay, and we really need to address the pay of our people because it hasn't kept even with inflation. But look, we have a shortage of bus drivers, but I don't hear the chair clamoring, let's give the bus drivers a raise. We have a shortage of teachers, and I brought up locality pay several times over the last year, and it just never seems to, you know, made it through a committee. So there's all kinds of things that we have shortages on, but for some reason we're just going to throw money at the SROs when the SROs is what we desperately need to increase their proficiency on because, look, their job is to protect our faculty, staff, and students from an active shooter. And I'm all for making them among the highest paid law enforcement people out of all 11 departments in Moore County, but I expect them to be among the most trained and highly qualified. And their fundamental job, despite what people, oh, you know, they're there to counsel and they're there to guide. Yes, they're there to be a role model and counsel, but their primary duty and the reason that we put SROs in every school across the nation was to protect the faculty, staff, and students against some horrific shooting. And if you make them the highest paid officers in this county out of 11 departments, they should be the best qualified to deal with an active shooter. And we don't even have an SRT team. I mean, let's just start with that. I mean, we should have an SR. I mean, every one of our officers should be an SRT. And if they're SRT qualified and if they train with the team that's going to respond to their school, when an incident happens, they take immediate action. But when the rest of that team shows up, they will have trained together and they will have known what to do. And I wish Jamie was still here. I would call him up to the stand. The most important thing a team can do is to train together so that everything becomes muscle memory. Because when situations like that happen, if it's not muscle memory, nobody knows what they're going to do. And no one can predict what that person's going to do. So anyway, I hope that.
Okay, but we're looking at people who do have some kind of experience because they have to have experience in order to come to Moore County.
Sure.
We're so short.
So let me address that. If you look at the qualifications to become an SRO, I don't think any of them deal with active shooter response. I believe the training for SROs, is counseling and how to deal with students and this and that. I don't believe that there's any requirement. I mean, we may have an officer. Yes, sir.
Yes, the SRO training includes rapid deployment training, which is rapidly deploying to attack an active shooter. That's what our SROs are trained to do. There's an active shooter on campus. They go identify the threat and take down the threat. That's what they're trained to do.
Yeah, and that's why I said I wasn't sure, but they're certainly not trained and equipped to a SRT standard. So Anyway, I just believe, look, if we're going to significantly increase pay and make them the highest paid officers in the county, then they should be the best equipped and the best trained. And
I think we all agree with that. I just think that we need the people first and then really up the standards and make it like a Marine Corps division. I don't mean like you know what I mean.
All right,
So-
further, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, I'm
Are
fine.
you guys done about it?
It-
Further, you
Yeah,
have
no,
something else?
I was just going to respond that in an ideal world, that's correct. But how do you ensure that the people you recruit who are retired officers from the sheriff's department, starting a second or third career, because that's a little thing about our SROs, because it's different funding. They can retire from we become a jobs program. This isn't always the case, but many officers that come to us retire from another department and come to work for us. And are they physically able to do the SRT job? I don't know. It seems like the older you get, the less able you are to do the physically rigorous jobs. So.
Does Mr. Benway have anything?
Yeah, Ken,
Yes, please.
do you have something to say?
First of all, can you hear me?
Yes, indeed.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you. Right. In my view, currently our SROs are operating within what the military would call a hostile fire environment, where the potential for hostile fire is certainly there. Their primary duty is to respond kinetically to an in extremis situation where life and limb is at stake. Typically, people in that environment receive additional pay, if not a raise. So I believe these folks deserve that right now, and as well as this, we need a bridge into the future. It seems to me we haven't addressed the new and enhanced threat environment that we face, which would in turn drive requirements, and some of those requirements may end up being an SRT level of expertise. It may not. We also have to address the anti-terrorism aspects of this thing, which is a preventative environment that precludes much of what we're concerned about here, or should. I, for one, think this is this raise will be a bridge into the future as we begin to shape a new concept, perhaps, for our SROs and for Moore County campus security. So I concur in giving this raise. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, further members of the board?
I have a few
Yes, ma'am.
comments, if you don't mind. Thank
Please.
you. I also, I did struggle with whether I would be for or against this. I try to always be very respectful to Dr. Locklear and his recommendations, but I listened to the public, and I spoke to several members of the public and got their input, some of which I thought would be against, but everybody I spoke to so far has been for it, saying that our SROs do deserve it. One thing, and I'm not former military, I have no background in that whatsoever, but what Mr. Hensley is saying for the SRT, am I saying training, it's my opinion only. People, and I agree that our SROs, all of our teachers, staff, everybody needs to be well trained, and we need to have the highest expectations. But I believe in this particular area, if you're training them to a certain level, you also are asking a certain individual, a characteristic from those people, and they thrive probably on adrenaline and the training that goes along with that, and the school environment would not necessarily be the same environment maybe that they're looking for the SRT training or something so rigorous. Just my thoughts, because they are, although I do understand they are more than counselors, they definitely are there as I don't have the right words. Well, they're there as a face to our children and as a friendly protector, as also someone who can step in to the role of unfriendly protector to the unfriendly person that's coming in. But I don't know that the rigor that you're speaking would be exactly what Moore County schools would need. That's where we need to, as Mr. Benway said, a good bridge. We need to flesh out these conversations and see what a good training. I did look through Dr. Locklear, the different job descriptions from the different things, and it does look like we only used, possibly, and I wasn't here at that time, but it looks like we made our job description based a lot on what the sheriff's department did, and I did see a lot of different areas of opportunity for us to fine-tune our things from different entities around the county. Just if I'm maybe ever in that position, I would make that suggestion. But for now, I think that we should proceed with this, and it would be a bridge to further conversation and development down the road. But I do think we have a severe deficit with our SROs, whereas we do not with any other position in our schools. So I would be in favor of it.
I have one thing.
Brother,
to say.
yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I apologize.
I know for a fact that we did lose one candidate that came from Hope County. He was with the sheriff's office, extremely. I think he's got his advanced law certificate among a bunch of other things. And he went to apply up here, and the pay was just unreal. So he just went to Pinehurst. So I feel like, it's going to send a message. It's going to boost morale, number one, and it's going to send a message that we do need qualified people to come and apply. So I'm going to vote in favor.
Okay.
I just have two quick closing things, real quick, actually in response to Ms. Davis. So just real quick, everyone I talk to is in favor of giving a raise, right? Boy, everyone's always for being, Santa Claus. It's all in how you phrase the question. And, examples would be, hey, would you like a new, shiny, innovative high school? And everyone's like, yeah, we'd like a new, shiny, innovative high school. Then you say, that's not the right question. Would you like a new, shiny, innovative high school in lieu of a new Carthage Elementary School because it's going to cost the taxpayers of Moore County about the same amount, as an example? Or are you for giving SROs a raise but not giving the bus drivers and teachers' assistants and cafeteria ladies a raise, or cafeteria workers a raise, and custodians? Because that's what we're doing. That's a different question. You always have to ask the other part of the question. Because everyone's always for something until you explain to them the other side of the equation. So I just caution you, you have to be careful, because everyone will say, yeah, give them a raise. And then you say, well, okay, but we're giving this up. And then all of a sudden people are like, well, okay, maybe not. It's more complicated than just, can we give someone a raise? The other point I would make is, you talked about you're not sure that our SROs need the rigor that I'm describing. I just said, and I said it last week, that if there was an active shooter situation in Moore County, the extraordinarily high probability is it's going to happen at a school. So our officers need to absolutely have that rigor, and they need, for responding to active shooter situations, they need to be the best trained and best equipped and most capable officers in the entire county for responding to active shooters, because that's where it's going to happen. So yes, the answer to your question is, where you said you're not sure they need to have the rigor, they need to have more rigor than you can even imagine, because God forbid if that happens and, oh, we didn't think they needed the rigor. I am not, anyway, I'll just leave it there. Thank you.
Mr. Levy, if I could just add one thing.
Yes.
I just wanted to make it clear too that I'm not against the giving them a raise. I believe that there still needs to be more discussion and the new board needs to be briefed on it. So that's where that's where I am at. So that's why I'm going to be voting against it, because I feel like it is just being a little rushed. Not that I don't approve of it, because I think your ideas are great on that, but I think it just still needs more time. So.
In conjunction with addressing everyone else's pay and addressing the increased proficiency and the requirements. It's a complete discussion. It's not just a let's throw 10% at this and move on. It needs to be part of a whole program.
You know, it's sort of like everyone's saying, if we can't do it all, we'll do nothing. Well, something needs to be done. Right now, tomorrow, we have schools which are unguarded. We have schools, we are 11 short. What's our total number of SROs, Dr. Locklear?
We have 22 total positions, or 23,
No,
Dr.
how many do we, so we have, so out of 22, we lack 11?
We currently have how many vacancies, Mr. Metcalf? So, Dr. Metcalf, we have total 20 positions. We have 8 current vacancies on the books.
And how many schools?
We have 23 schools, 22 brick and mortar.
So at any rate.
We need about 28 to 30 SROs is really what we need.
At any rate, the bottom line is we are so far down on SROs, and why? Because we're just not paying them enough money. We'd love to have the best supermen in the world, being our SROs. But right now, I would settle for highly well qualified police officers who are paid fairly. And so far as the training is concerned, I leave that to the chief. Okay, I'm not a policeman, and I don't know how to train police officers. I trust our chief of police knows that. The bottom line is we've got to get recruits to come in and be with us. This is a step in the right direction. We've got the money to do it. We ought to do it, okay? And just because we can't, I would like to give teachers a raise. I'd love to give cafeteria workers a raise. We don't have the money to do that, okay? But I can't sit back and say we're going to do nothing because we can't do it all.
So, look, Mr. Levy, couple responses here. One is, you said, you said it again. We have to spend money. We have to spend money. We have to give them a raise. We have to give them a raise because that'll solve the problem. But we're supposed to make evidence-based decisions. So let's just discuss evidence-based decisions. In July of 2023, our SROs were 5th with an 8% pay raise. That made them third highest paid in the county. I got the figures here in a spreadsheet that I can't show because of a policy that was passed preventing board members from showing stuff unless they had 4 days advance notice of in any way. So they went to third highest paid, and the officers didn't increase. They didn't increase. We didn't hire any new officers even though they were the third highest paid. This pay raise will once again make them the third highest paid. Why do we think they were third highest paid a year and a half ago and we didn't get additional officers? So if we're going to make evidence-based decisions, the evidence would show that making them the third highest paid won't work because we tried that in July of 2023.
How long did they stay the third highest? Because you said that the state changed it and we're now lower.
I don't know the timing. I do not know the timing. I just got snapshots.
8%
I just know
8% versus 18%. 8% versus 18%.
Mr. Levy, what I'm saying, but see, you're you're misconstruing what I'm
exactly.
saying. No. For today, we don't know. Ms. Davis just asked when those raises went. When we gave them an 8% raise, they were the third highest. And whether that lasted for 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, I don't know. I just know that we didn't hire additional officers. The other thing I'll note is the person who needs to be here the most and the person that we need to hear from the most is Chief Hardy here, Dr. Locklear? I mean, why don't we get Chief Hardy up here and ask him what his opinion to increase officer retention and recruiting is?
We can after we have a collaborative discussion and have some time for preparation, but I would not feel comfortable that tonight. I can tell you my recommendation, which is in the executive summary on this specific item that's in front of the board. I can again reiterate what I've said to the board several times. I have incredible respect, and I'm incredibly, have a lot of gratitude towards our officers, the role they play in our schools.
Of course.
That they put safety of our students and staff first.
Yep, hope so.
And they build great relationship with our kids.
Yep.
And they're a proactive measure in our schools.
Yep.
With that said, I don't support any action at this time of pay raises. We do have an employee team of 1,800 employees that serve in a variety of roles. Their salaries are driven primarily from the General Assembly, from the state legislature, and the pay raises that our state bring forward, and that drives our budget. And I do not recommend at this time singling out our school police officers for a raise, as I've already noted. The second part of that context that I've shared with the board is last fiscal year, I did bring a recommendation to the board because the board had a lot of discussion about what else can we do to be competitive with our school police officers. I did bring a recommendation to the board. The board did approve, giving an additional 4% on top of the state 4% pay raise. That was last budget year. And quite frankly, you had some great ideas around encouraging advanced training from our officers. And so part of that I brought to the board was also a stipend for advanced training, the advanced school resource officer training and advanced law enforcement training. So that was part of being able to give our officers some additional money in their salaries if they reach those certifications. Could be as much as $3,000 to $4,000 a year. And again, quite frankly, that was because of the discussions we had and the feedback you'd given. So that was what the plan that was brought to the board last year. So secondarily, that's the context of this as well. I do appreciate the board taking action last year. I would not recommend any action at this time.
And
I just want to add, because I looked it up, January 2024 was when the state gave raises to police officers.
Yeah. So really, and hopefully this will be the last I feel compelled to say. One is, really two things. I can assure you that if I have any say in it whatsoever, that one of the highest priorities of the board sworn in December is going to be to tackle this SRO thing. But it needs to be done in concert. It shouldn't be dictated from, a board member down overruling the superintendent. It shouldn't be dictated by a board member who thinks that he or she knows all the solutions when it didn't work last time, but supposedly it's going to work this time. But I assure you it will be one of the top 3 or 4 priorities of the next board. The other thing is about just general pay in general. Really, and this is something else I suspect the next board will do. Shame on us for not passing a resolution demanding that the General Assembly, the Republican General Assembly, doesn't give raises to keep our employees up with inflation. So I think that, shame on us for not doing that over the last year or so. And that's one of the things I'm going to advocate for in December is that we draft up a resolution and we send it to the President of the Senate and the Speaker of the House, who's from Caldwell County, by the way. And we say it's unacceptable that they have not made not just school employees, but all public employees whole with inflation. It's unconscionable. But anyway, why would we do this in the outgoing hours of this board? It just doesn't make sense. Thank you.
Mr. Bedway? Were you going to say something?
Ken, can you hear us?
Ken? Ken, are you still there?
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can hear you. Yes, sir.
All right. My position remains the same. I think this is an effective way to provide a bridge to retain officers into the future. And apparently the future is going to have to take a hard look at our entire security system and our approach to that. So in the meantime, I think this is an appropriate raise. Thank you.
Okay. All right.
I call the
Hearing nothing
question.
for you here, I don't think you need to call the question,
Don't need
'cause I
to.
think we're about talked out. Okay. All those in favor of the resolution, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ken, how do you vote?
Yes, hands raised.
5. Those opposed, raise. 2. Motion passes. Okay, thank you very much. Believe we have a settlement announcement, Dr. Locklear.
Yes, sir. I'll read this. It is a bit lengthy, so I ask the board to bear with me, and then we'll enter this into the record, Ms. Parker. The Moore County Board of Education has announced from the settlement today, November 12, 2024, announces the following settlements in 2 cases filed by J.M. Thompson Company, JMT, the board's contractor for the building of Medici Creek Elementary and the new Aberdeen Elementary School. J.M. Thompson Company, represented by Pointer Sproul, filed 2 lawsuits against the Moore County Board of Education. One for the Aberdeen Elementary School project in Moore County, case number 21-CVS-706, and another for the Medici Creek Elementary School project in Moore County, case number 21-CVS-707. The cases have now been settled on the following terms, with all payments coming from funds previously budgeted for these projects that was retained by the school system for problems with performance. Regarding the Aberdeen project, the Moore County Board of Education and JMT and Orwell Solutions, JMT's subcontractor, previously agreed to waive the board's claim against JMT for a back charge of $38,300 for non-compliant site items at Aberdeen Elementary School, and JMT agreed to the removal of $38,300 from the project contract balance and include that amount in a payment by the Moore County Board of Education of $45,000 directly to Orwell Solutions as follows: $5,000 upon receipt of soil test results, $15,000 at the time Orwell Solutions mobilizes to perform work on site, $20,000 in progress payment as work is completed, and $5,000 retainage payment upon completion of the work to be done. My apologies. JMT and Orwell Solutions and the Moore County Board of Education agreed that a back charge of $76,011 for the installation of playfield sod would be submitted to arbitration with a limit of $69,311 on the owner's recovery, if any, for this back charge. The arbitration award resulted in a $71,261 being paid to JMT from the then remaining contract balance retained by the Moore County Board of Education, and $4,750 from the sod back charge would be retained by the Moore County Board of Education. Regarding all remaining claims, the board has paid JMT the total sum of $320,450 as final payment from the Medici Creek Elementary School project, and the total sum of $193,050 as final payment for the Aberdeen Elementary School project, and JMT has accepted these amounts as final payments on the projects and has consented to the board retaining $131,050 in the contract balance that had been claimed by JMT on the Medici Creek project and $78,950 on the Aberdeen project. The parties have filed stipulations of dismissal with prejudice in both cases and released each other from all claims other than those related to warranty claims and latent defects arising from JMT's performance, including the work of JMT subcontractors. The parties have agreed to bear their own attorney fees and costs other than a deductible. All of the school system's attorney fees were paid by the North Carolina School Board's trust. This settlement concludes all claims by J.M. Thompson Company against the Moore County Board of Education and results in the board retaining $210,000 from the final contract balances for the 2 projects. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Locklear, and thanks to our legal counsel and their office for their assistance in this matter. Okay. Dr. Locklear, Superintendent's report.
Mr. Levy, I was able to share several items at last week's work session, but I would just like to comment again and first congratulate Mr. Hensley on his reelection, but also again thank you, Mr. Levy, Mr. Holmes, and Ms. Codwell for your service to our students, to our staff, and to our county, and have much gratitude for the time that you've invested and the energy you put into serving our school board. So again, thank you. You will be missed, and don't be a stranger. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Board comments. Mr. Hensley.
I have nothing, thank you.
Okay. Ms. Bruna.
Yes, first of all, I would like to congratulate all our teams, all the sports that we're doing. They're doing an amazing job. I'm really proud. Also, I would like to, Mr. Levy and Mr. Holmes and Stacy, I'm gonna miss you. You're right here in my heart. And thank you. Everything's wonderful. I'm really, really, really gonna miss you guys.
Okay.
That's it.
Mr. Benway, do you have something to say?
Yes, sir. I want to thank all of our departing colleagues, Bob, Stacy, and Phil, for their devotion to this critical mission, for their care for the students of Moore County, for their team efforts, and for their friendship. I wish each of you God's blessing and good luck. Thanks so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Caldwell?
Well, I said my 3-pager earlier.
Okay, no,
So-
I know, but I was just
But I
going to
have
give
it
you
here
an
again. No, I'm just
opportunity.
kidding. I'm kidding. No, I just appreciate everything tonight. It was great to have my husband here and my daughter here just to see me one final goodbye. So it was, though I don't leave till December, so just saying, I'm still around. But, no, in all honesty, thank you, just everyone here on board too. Thank you for all that you do.
Mr. Holmes?
I would just like to thank everybody here at Central Office for putting up with all the craziness, especially over the past 4 years. I want to thank all of our classified staff. You guys do a great job. I know I'm going to miss you. Our teachers, they're unbelievable. There's a lot of things that I'm going to miss about this. And Dr. Locklear, I really do appreciate your leadership throughout this. And there's some parts of me I'm going to miss, but some parts not. But it's been an honor serving Moore County for these past 4 years. So thank you.
And let me just say, first of all, I want to, I'll forget you all the time. All the time.
Nessie.
Go ahead, Ms. Davis.
And you'll always be unforgettable to me. You really will. I honestly, I'm gonna cry. For me to be vice chair is just an incredible thing anyway. But it was just a blessing to be able to have you as the chair. You never once took advantage of your position with me, and you were always respectful. You were always quietly leading, even though it doesn't in the moment. in our work sessions, maybe not so much, but behind the scenes, you were a great leader and a great example to me. I appreciate it. Also, Miss Stacy, coming in, I had one opinion of you, and going out, I have a totally different. And it takes a certain special individual to be a true servant leader, and you've done well. And Philip has got his sign upside down, and he's in the bathroom. But I appreciate what he's taught me too, and that's it.
Well, I suppose now it does come to me. The past 4 years has been really instructive. We've done a lot of things. We got rid of CRT. We very controversial. Probably still is controversial. We did a Parents' Bill of Rights. Okay. Still controversial, very controversial. We made sure that every student, especially those students who don't want to read too much, they're going to at least read 4 books a year, 4 books each and every year. And yeah, write a book report on it. It's controversial, but it's also important. So what does all that mean? Well, what it all means is that we are now 10th in the state, both academically and in terms of vocational education. Okay. What it means is we have probably one of the best school systems in the state of North Carolina. And we have at least I think I can say that I'm going to leave this board a little bit better in the school system. A little bit better than when we started. I'm a guy, I'm not supposed to do this. I want to thank my wife, Linda. You've put up with a lot. And it's not been easy. But I will say that this is still the best school system in the state of North Carolina. It'll continue to be the best school system in the state of North Carolina. We may even have, I think we've started the groundwork for a new Carthage Elementary School. We'll get that. And I sincerely hope that we will follow through with an innovative high school at Sandhills Community College. That is a necessity. We help students who are who need help through Pinckney Academy. We have invested more money, I think, in Pinckney Academy in the past 2 years than has been invested in a long time, but we still have a lot more to do. Okay? Quite frankly, there needs to be yet, even after the new innovative high school, there may need to be a new high school, probably will need to be a new high school, and that will cost a heck of a lot of money. Okay? And we've got to be dedicated to that. So there is a lot of work still to do. But by keeping a conservative outlook and making this school system home to people of all faiths, and including people of faith, and that is so important. Showing respect for children who may consider themselves LGBTQ, considering respect for those people who believe that LGBTQ is not the proper way to go, but to give everyone a chance at a good education. That's what we're doing, and that's what we've done, and it takes money and it takes dedication. And I want to thank the board especially today for giving these police officers raises. I believe they needed that. I respect the fact that maybe some disagree, and I hope that we can give greater raises to all of our people, all of our classified, all of our licensed and unlicensed employees. But I want to thank everyone for the opportunity to serve, and thank you, Dr. Lockley, and thank you to the board. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor, aye?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Yep.